Something I would have loved to know growing up that somebody had told me was to become aware of the choice of what you are into, because this determines your life's path. This determines whether you wind up in a place that has way more unhappiness and accidents and tragedy, or the opposite, all the good stuff, right? The well-being, the unhurtness, the healing, the no breaking, the respect, all the good stuff, all the love and creation. Because what in my life what I experienced is I was into, because that's what I was taught, pain. I was into pain, and I would always click with suffering and click with disappointment as well. But in this case, I want to talk about the hurt of being pulled into discomfort, somebody else's discomfort, and thinking the way through to life is through other people's discomfort. And I believe the only way out is through, and that goes for pain as well, but not other people's, your own pain, my own pain, each and every one of us, our own pain. To go through that, that is the way through and out. Not being into other people's pain, being there to hold their hand, is not good for anybody. And I'm not saying abandon people that are hurt on the street, or like if you love somebody, like, bye, I'm out the door. You know what I mean, right? It's the bigger picture. And it's all, sometimes and often it's about the energetics of it. So you can actually energetically be focused into somebody's pain constantly, because that's what you taught. You had to be there with them, their presence. So you take away the presence of your being with your own self in your own vessel, because you have to be in their pain to comfort them or go through it with them. That will never give you a great life. So training yourself or training your children, if you have children, to be into things that are good for them. I grew up in thinking I had to be into the worst. And at the same time, I was kind of the light. I was not as hurt as I actually thought I was. I eventually healed all my shit, my baggage, got even more healed. And from there, I thought I was strong enough to keep going into shit and say, hey, I'm here to light everything up and you can change and you can feel better. But people don't want to feel better unless they actually make that choice themselves and call me up and say, hey, I want to pay you money to do what you do. But I was taught that I had to like go into shit and offer my light, and only to be completely ruined again. So I don't recommend that. So that's why I'm here to say, be aware of and choose carefully what you are into. If you're actually feeling good, or if you're actually feeling shit and want to heal, you gotta stop going into shit. You gotta stop going into shit. Choose what you want to go into. And that requires you allowing yourself to say no, because you are so reverent to yourself that you know that you are not going to put yourself in danger, because really that's what it's about. You're not going to risk your own well-being to go into shit, to go into people who cannot hold you, to go into people that will reject you continuously without their own knowledge of what they're doing, because they can't hold intimacy. You're not going to do that to yourself. You're worth so much more than that. So I used to be aware of the fact that I was very fearful of going into things and being trapped in them. It could be community work, it could be collaborations, it could be relationships, because I felt like I could not get out of it. And obviously that's what I learned. So that's why I feared it. But I was very, very aware of it. And I was working with that fear and that experience of life that I was having regarding that. So I knew that getting into things were like, it was my default to be like, well, yeah, like, I'll think about that, but I don't really want to. But I never owned my no. No, I don't want to get into that. No, I don't want to be part of that. No, I don't want to be part of that. I feel great. I'm here in my own world. If that feels like I might be outside of everybody else's, that's fine. But no, thank you. I won't go into that. And that goes with everything. It goes with your internal, your brain. What that also is bringing up for you to like, or inner voices or inner antagonists, if you constantly go into where's that from, is that like, how can I heal it? So knowing the problem to find the solution, that used to work for me, and I've spent years doing that. But also I found that that was actually a loop. You don't have to know where it comes from. You don't have to know where like who planted it. You could just say, I'm not even gonna engage with it. That's basically what it's about. I'm not gonna engage with it because then I sustain it, and then I'm in a collaborative situation with it if I entertain it in some way. So it works for me to actually ignore it. And if there's something I know in life, it's that if you ignore something long enough, it dies. And this is unconventional perspective to self development, because it's always about looking it in the face. But I tried that, and sometimes I just mean sometimes it's that's not the lesson, to look it in the face. Sometimes the lesson is don't engage, especially if you are here to have a sovereign individual path in life with a lot of independence and collaboration, unchosen and unwillingly collaborating with people because you're pulled into because people can't do it themselves. If that's a lesson in your life, this is definitely for you, because that's the lesson for you, you know. So then in that case, that's the lesson for you, and you don't need people, and you own that you don't want to be a part of it. And if they need you, that's too bad for them. They can find somebody else, or they can do it themselves, but you're not available to it. And it's very powerful to own your no, and own that you can be alone, and that you want to be alone, or not alone, but not with them, but with them. You know, it's a choice. And if your mind is like always playing equalizer, it's like, oh, but if you're friends with that person and he lives right next to, like, you have to be friends with him too, or do like the same treatment. No. In life, difference is power, and difference is the solidity and the whole foundation of how you build a life where you live a life of your preferences. So this making a difference, choosing to acknowledge it. Yeah, I choose that, but not that. And that makes it obvious that I don't like you. You know, instead of nurturing everybody's feelings, like, yeah, it has to be equal because we're like, actually, it's obvious what I haven't chosen. And if that's people, that can be something that's triggering for that person to be not chosen. But that's not on me. And that's exactly where, like I said, the foundation of a life of actually living an experience in my life's preferences, not all kinds of infestation of things I don't like because I am a pleaser. No. I tried that. I'm not doing that again. So, owning your preferences and your no, and owning that you want solitude, or you want to be alone, or you want that and not that. It's all the shaping tools to shape your life the way that you prefer your life to be and your experience to be.